You are joining Making a Difference with Melissa Clark, a show that shares the compelling stories and voices of well-known and everyday people who change the world in big and small ways. Enjoy our guests, call in, or just listen to be inspired. For this show was made with you in mind. Please join us every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our special guests. And you can listen to our recast at www.melissaclarkshow.com.
Living with spinal muscular atrophy, a form of muscular dystrophy since the age of 18 months, identical twins Kelly and Kristen have defeated the odds and proved that those with certain disabilities can live a fulfilled and happy life. Whether winning competitions, making a family, dating, career, and everyday life, their continued education and advocacy for the voiceless does not go unnoticed. Their new YouTube channel, Twins with Wheels, provides unanswered questions from their audience. We sat down with Kristen and Kelly to get further information. We are here with Kelly Buonaccorsi and Kristen Connors. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having us. We're excited.
Thank you so much. Kelly, I've known, we used to work together in 2000, I believe in 2006 at Metropolitan Life Insurance.
Yeah.
We worked in the Enforced Life, we were Enforced Life analysts, and then you ended up being supervisor of that department. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. I'm so happy to reconnect with you. We've been friends on Facebook for basically all this time. So
Yep.
I wanted to have you ladies on because you are the perfect people to talk about muscular dystrophy, which you both have, and you were diagnosed at what age?
We were 18 months old.
18 months.
Yeah.
So let me just explain what MD is. It's a group of diseases that cause progressive weakness and loss of muscle mass. Abnormal genes interfere with the production of proteins needed to form healthy muscle. Now, there's many kinds of muscular dystrophy. Which is a kind that you ladies have?
We have spinal muscular atrophy.
Okay. And
which basically means the proteins in our spine that's supposed to be released to make muscles strong, we don't have that. So all of our muscles are weak.
wow. Now, you guys are twins, so is it possible to have different kinds of MD?
I think we're identical twins, so that wouldn't be possible because we're genetically basically the same.
If you guys were fraternal, would you be able to have two separate genes of the MD?
We could. One of us could have had it, and one of us didn't.
Sure. Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you. So what were your teenage years like? I'll start with Kelly.
They were at times challenging. In teenage, I think being a teenager is challenging in and of itself. And then you put a disability into it, and it does kind of, muddy the waters a little bit more. But we had, our parents were great. They were very supportive. And I have to say, the one thing that I think helped us through our teen years was my parents were able to purchase a van for us so that we could drive.
Right.
So we were driving at 17, like, all of our friends. And that gave us such independence that, we kind of just took off from there and we never looked back.
What can I ask you? What do they do to the vehicle to make it accessible for you to drive?
So we usually, right now, we are going to be getting it's a minivan.
Okay.
And they take out the front seat
Mm-hmm.
and they lower the whole minivan down.
Oh, wow.
Front seat out. They put a ramp or a lift on it so you can get in.
Mm-hmm.
And then for us, we need specialized hand equipment. So we have a small steering wheel and then a lever for the gas and brake, and we drive with our hands.
Wow. Because you guys, you don't have the strength to turn the wheels in
Right.
your hands. Kristen, how was your teenage years? What was that like?
And we went to we were the same high school, basically had the same friends.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is I did all the driving. She didn't really drive that much.
No, I was scared.
But we had a good group of friends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, I liked high school. I was
Yeah.
sad to leave, so.
Were you guys ever discriminated against when you were younger?
Not that I know of. I mean, even when we attended, we moved into a town before we went to junior high.
Mhm.
And while we were at the junior high, they put an elevator in at the high school.
Mhm.
So
Because they knew we were coming.
because they knew we were coming.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so that was, I think, very nice of them.
They should do that more often with people in wheelchairs. So what's an average day like for you? Kelly, we'll start with you.
Well, we both work full time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually still working at Met. And I was working from home and going into the office. They were letting me do both, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was just your average day like everybody else does. You start your day, you work. You know, I have 2 sons, so busy with them after school. And that was that. Now with COVID, we're just kind of home stuck.
Great. Do you need help getting out of bed? Does your husband help you, Michael? Kelly?
My husband does,
Your
yes.
husband, okay. Okay. So can you explain to us how a person with muscular dystrophy gets out of bed?
Well, it depends on the severity.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with us, there's people with spinal muscular atrophy don't all look the same either.
Right.
It depends on kind of basically what you're like when you're first born. You can kind of tell.
Yeah.
So we're actually pretty strong considering. So I actually just kind of need the slide board, and I have somebody just kind of help me slide to the bed from my chair. So, and I can do part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do a little moving around to help, but slide board's very good.
And Kelly, actually, you built a home accessible for both of you because Kristen lives with you.
Yes.
So
My
tell us.
Yeah, my husband and I, when we built our house, my dad actually had MS, multiple sclerosis. And so we wanted to be able to have him live with us, and it would be easier for us to take care of him. We
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to stay in the house with us. So we built a house with an addition in the back. So my parents had their own room, Kristen has her own room. And it's, yeah, they have their own bathroom, kitchen, laundry, you know, everything.
Right.
And we made it completely accessible for us. So it's all one floor, one
Mm-hmm.
level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a ramp in the front, in the garage. I mean, we have wide doorways. We have the light switches, which are lower for us so that we can reach them. All the, you know, just like little things like that just make life much easier.
That you probably wouldn't think of
No.
unless you needed it.
Right, right. Not many people are able to have this. Does the state help people with disabilities?
Yeah, unfortunately, the state can help with some things and purchases, like they are going to help Kristen purchase a new van.
Well, they're going to put the equipment in the van. I
Right.
have to buy the van,
Okay. And then they change it around for you?
and then they will pay to have it.
And that's
There you
through our ORS department because she works. So they want to help people to keep working. But for houses and ramps and things like that, a lot of independent living centers in the states
Mm-hmm.
do have supports for them to help with that. I actually worked at an independent living center before I went to Met.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with people on trying to get them out of nursing homes back into their own houses. And so we had programs to help them do that.
That's wonderful. And every state, I guess, varies, right? Because you guys are in Rhode Island. Mm.
Yep.
Now, Kelly,
That's for people if they're looking to look for an independent living center in their area.
is there a website that you can give to us where I can put up on our website?
We can give you a couple of sites give you the address to ORS.
Okay, great. Okay.
Also
Also, yep.
tech access. Yeah, there's a few that we can give you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Kelly, you chose to have children. You have two beautiful boys who are 19 and 17 now. They used to go on I remember they used to go on your wheelchair and ride around. Yep. That's so sweet.
Oh, they loved it.
How was your pregnancy?
Pretty normal, you know, as it was for anyone else. I was tired, but I became a little weaker, and they did have concerns. And one doctor actually told me not to, that he thought it would be better if I didn't have children or become pregnant. But I really wanted to be a mother. So, you know, that was just not going to be an option for me. So we went to genetic counseling, Michael and I, and we were tested. Michael was tested. He's not a carrier. So therefore, we knew that we weren't going to have children with a disability. With muscular dystrophy.
Both parents have to carry the gene that makes this happen.
Wow.
So because Michael doesn't have it, there's no possibility that their children would have.
Oh, okay.
But my children are carriers.
They are carriers.
Yeah. So they have to work with their partners, you know, as they get older and make decisions from there.
Interesting. So did you have any problems with going through birth with them? Did you have a regular birth or a C-section?
I tried. My doctor was great, and he did so much research on his own. And he did great, because he treated me like any other patient.
Right.
But realized that there was some, you know, specialties that we had to kind of work on and figure out. And he said there was no reason why I couldn't try to have a natural birth.
Right.
So we did. You know, I was in labor for about 14 hours with Connor, and they finally were like, you know what? I think we're gonna just take him now. I'm like, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Because you weren't were you dilated?
No. Nope. You know, I was there all day, and the problem is, because I had back surgery in the past for scoliosis, I couldn't have an epidural. So there was no pain meds. So
those pain meds. Remember those?
Oh, those did nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, when I had to have the C-section, they had to just put me under general anesthesia. So I wasn't awake, you know, and my husband couldn't be in the room. It was not in either. So
it was like the 50s again. It was raining outside the.
Were you scared at all? Did you feel frightened?
I was nervous. Yeah, I was very nervous. Especially because I didn't want to have the C-section, but by then I did, because I was so done.
Right.
I was kind of torn. And then with my second, we just scheduled it.
Okay.
We're like, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna do that. So,
Kristen, were you afraid for Kelly when she said she wanted to have children?
No, not at all. I have to say that when they said she was going in for the C-section, we'd all been there for like 15 hours. We were just all emotionally exhausted. I just started bawling, even though I knew it was going to be fine, but I was done, I think, at that point. Yeah. But other than that, I was not nervous.
Yeah. Did you ever want to have children?
It wasn't something that I had to do. You know, Kelly had to do it. It wasn't something I had to do. I don't know. I may look back someday and be sorry. I don't know. But I've spent a lot of time with her boys.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like I've missed out on kids.
Those are like your children.
They are my children, yeah.
You even have a tattoo of them. we were just comparing tattoos, and you have of the boys on your wrist.
Yes.
That's lovely. It's nice that you guys are all close together.
So it helps a lot.
Yeah. So how was it taking care of your babies, Kelly?
That, you know, I'm not gonna lie, that was challenging.
That's challenging, yeah.
Yeah, it was, you know, because I don't have a lot of upper body strength. So as they got older, I had to kind of find clever ways of holding them. And when they were babies, I would hold them all the time, like my younger one. I was just holding him constantly. But what was great is I have a seatbelt on my chair. And what I used to do is just seatbelt them in with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would sit on my lap with a seatbelt, and I just go around with them like a carriage.
And we taught them how to climb up onto our laps very early.
Very early, yeah. So they did that very quickly.
Yeah.
Kristen, did you help Kelly?
I'm sorry?
Did you help Kelly with the babies, or you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
a lot.
And your mom and dad
Yep.
and Michael.
He is, you know, it's I had a great partner, which is important too. You know, he was a lot of help. Like, you know, obviously I couldn't have done it, you know, without him, but you know, he had to take on a lot of extra, you know, chores and things.
Right. Of course. You know,
So,
yeah. In speaking with you yesterday, Kelly, we were talking about your beautiful boys, and I had mentioned to you that you had posted something on Facebook about Connor, and he actually came out to you recently. Can you tell us a little bit about it, and what advice would you give to a child who's afraid to come out to their parents?
yeah, he came out to us probably when he was about 11. And it was in the beginning, he was just sort of nervous about it, and I could tell, and
We knew.
we knew.
You knew at 11, you were saying.
I knew before then. Yeah. So it wasn't a big shock to me. I think it was more a shock to him, you know, because he's 11. He's still trying to figure all this crazy stuff going on.
Right.
And my husband and I were very, you know, that doesn't bother us at all. You know, I told him, I said, whatever you're going to be, and it's going to be perfect. And, you know, you don't have to worry about anything. I want you to be happy.
Right.
And that's what I think parents really have to decide, is it's not a choice. It's not something they're, you know, doing to
Get back at you.
Yeah. It's just who they are. And we accept him 100% that way. So.
And I think he's like an amazing kid.
He is unbelievable.
He's a wonderful singer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
Besides other.
hard worker. He's a really great kid.
He is.
Do you think he feels relieved now that he came out?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard. And the only reason why it bothers me is because I know it's going to be hard for him. You know, that's the only reason why I wouldn't want him to be gay, is because I don't want him to have to struggle. And unfortunately, our society is still not 100% accepting. So that's the only issue I have.
Right.
But you know, he's great. He's so confident in himself and who he is, and I'd love to take credit for that. I'm not sure if it was me or not, but he's a great kid.
How does Christopher know?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 100%.
You think he knew before you guys knew? Did he ever talk to him about? No.
Christopher's, Christopher is this great kid who's just in his own world and oblivious to everything going on, and just lives happy.
Thank you so much for giving us that information. I didn't mean to go off topic, but I wanted to, you know, discuss that. And because you guys both are wonderful people, and Kelly, you're such a wonderful mother, because I know that personally, and wonderful human being. I wanted to get your insight to give anybody who's listening, who's struggling. And yes, it's still an ongoing situation, and it's not acceptable in many. Can I just ask you, how is it in Massachusetts? Is it acceptable there more?
I guess in different areas it is. He goes to a musical theater. He's studying musical theater, and so I think
he's actually in Boston.
He's in Boston.
He's in Boston. Okay.
In Boston, and I think when you go to college too, people are just so much more accepting there. And I'm so happy to see his generation and how accepting they really are for the most part
of
anyone, and
right.
How political they're now becoming and being more active in decision making. And I think it's a good outlook for us that this generation is coming up of age and is, I think, really going to make a difference.
Oh, he has a lot of really good friends and people around him. So he's happy.
The only reason why I asked that is because I saw a gay lesbian couple who went to Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween, and we had such a wonderful time even though we weren't accepted here. So that's the only reason why I asked about Massachusetts, because I'm like, why is everybody like, this is like the new thing, you know, just accepting people for who they are, because there's so many transgenders coming out. And
luckily those people that are coming out, they're all accepting of each other. So eventually when they get older and they have their kids, they'll be accepting of what their kids want or need or are.
Right.
And hopefully at some point there won't be.
But unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are just not accepting.
I don't think it'll ever go away, to be honest with you.
No, unfortunately. Yeah. It's sad, but.
Yeah. Kristen, let's talk about your dating life. How is it? How is it dating men, and how is that experience like for you?
It depends on the day. I mean, I have certainly dated enough men to know that it can get complicated. But you know, I'm
glad I'm not out there anymore. You know, watching her, my God, it's like,
it's rough out there.
It is. But again, I've never really had anybody a guy who I feel decided not to date me just because I had a disability.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, or at least I don't know of one. You know, they didn't come out and tell me, maybe they did, but people, they're really open. A lot of people are a lot more open nowadays than they used to be.
Did you ever date anybody with MD? Oh, I'm sorry, Kel.
Okay. I think it's because we're comfortable with ourselves too. And, you know, once people meet us, I think they see that we're disabled for all of 5 seconds. And then, you know, we hope that just that's not the only thing they continue to see.
Of course.
I mean, I do think there's probably been a couple of guys that thought that they could, wanted to take care of me and thought they could just tell me what to do and how to do it. And then once they realize that's not going to happen.
So we are here with Michael Buonaccorsi. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Kelly's husband. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Long time no see.
It's been a while.
Haven't seen you in a while. So tell us, how is your relationship with Kelly? You both have such a loving marriage and 2 beautiful children. So how has it been throughout all these years with her?
Been a typical marriage. I mean, you have a lot of, things that hit you in life, and, you have to have kind of a strong relationship to kind of manage those things. I think one of the things which probably helped with our relationship was the fact that we did have, probably in the beginning of our relationship, we knew that, Kelly having a disability was probably played into some of my thought processes in life.
Mm-hmm.
You got to kind of not go in blindly to something like that, but it's not something which is a huge factor in the long run. When you think about, a strong marriage you think should handle if someone becomes disabled. So it really shouldn't play a large factor into when you're going to become someone's partner. So, kind of having that ahead of time and kind of having that, that thought process going through, our dating and, when we got engaged was kind of prepared us for the fact that things might be harder. But when it comes to the rubber meeting the road, I don't think we faced any more challenges than some of the other couples that we know. Yeah. Everybody has problems, everybody has challenges. So ours is just a little different than some people.
Has anybody ever said anything to you to make you feel uncomfortable about your relationship with Kelly?
No, I mean, I think we've been pretty lucky in that. Mm-hmm. Probably early on, I probably had more of the, friends that were concerned, or friends that, were worried that, I wasn't thinking about something. So probably had some of that, but a lot of that was, few and far between. I mean, we've been really lucky in that, and it's probably who we surround ourselves with. and who we kind of align ourselves with. And we've been lucky.
And what advice would you give to somebody who is interested in dating somebody with a disability, but they're just afraid of what other people think?
Well, I think that what other people think is usually, shouldn't come into too much of that. That's not your biggest concern when you're looking at a relationship, especially with someone with a disability. You want to go back to the stuff I talked about before. You definitely want to have a consideration. You don't want to go in and expect that it's not going to be an issue at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have made me nervous if he wasn't, thinking about that and planning it. I mean, it is a factor, but as long as you have communication and you talk about it, it's.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things. I wouldn't steer somebody away from, having a relationship or, not trying to have a relationship with somebody with a disability. I think it's, and you really shouldn't worry about what other people are going to think about it, because regardless of who you pick, someone's going to have a bad opinion about who you pick.
That's true.
So, there's plenty of bad opinions going around in the world today. So if you just focus on the person that you're dating and make sure that they're the person you want to be with, that's probably the most important. That's kind of what we've done. I think we've been successful with that. So.
Thank you so much for that. And I just want to go back to your beautiful son, Connor. How proud are you of him as a father and his recent coming out to you?
I mean, I couldn't be more proud of him. He's a force. He's definitely, I take a lot of pride in what we've done as parents, but a lot of what he's done in his life has been his driving force. We've really tried to, foster that and encourage him with those things. But, him coming out was not really a shocker to me, growing up with him. It's not like it came out of left field. But, that's just, again, just part of who he is,
Right.
And he's proud of it. He's happy and, he's making, good strides in life going forward. So.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful husband and father and person, because I know you from 2006. We were talking about how long we've known each other. So you're just a wonderful human being, and everything that you do for your family. So there's very far and few in between of you out there. I have a brother-in-law who's just like you, so I always praise him, and I wanted to praise you. So thank you so much. So we are back with Kristen now. Do you guys ever feel cheated out of a quote unquote normal life?
It's not, because we do so much, we travel, we work, we drive. There's not many things that we can't do. There's sometimes where I would love to just rent a RV and go somewhere, but we can't, or something like that. But other than that, we've done everything that we want to do. Just a little differently.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that our hopes and dreams and aspirations aren't different from anyone else's. We're just doing it from a seated position.
And that's all because you were diagnosed at 18 months. So it's quite different with someone who got into a car accident at 16 and they're a paraplegic. So that's tough. Yes. What advice would you give to somebody, although you haven't experienced that, but you still are in a wheelchair? So what advice would you give to somebody who became a paraplegic in the midst of their life?
It's not the end of the world. It might feel like it at times, but it's not. And that there's so many resources out there for people. And what they have to see is that their wheelchair is not something confining them, but giving them independence. And if they look at it that way, and it's just another form of getting around, that's the best way, I think, for anyone to look at it. It's not the end all thing to happen. I mean, I think that a lot of people need to understand that too. I think people feel bad for us, and you don't need to feel bad for us. We're great. We're happy. We have, we live a great life. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. So, and I think that people once we change society's views, I think that's when it might be easier for people with disabilities.
So I noticed that when people are around people with disabilities, they make themselves feel comfortable to make you feel comfortable. Do you notice that with people? Like they're either overly nice or, you know, and it could actually come up as like fake.
Annoying.
Yeah, annoying. You know, what do you want to tell these people who do that to you?
Just relax. You know, you seem more nervous to meet me than I am to meet you. So,
Right.
and I've done, you know, and I feel sometimes it's my, not responsibility, but to try to make them understand they don't have to be that way.
Yeah. I think we're educators, whether we want to be or not.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yes.
kind of have to be. And either just by the way we live our life or, you know, keep explaining to people what it's like to be with a disability. And I think that we have to constantly educate people because that's the only way that everyone's going to understand.
What do you want to see long gone after you're gone from this earth, changed about most MD? Anything that needs to change? Any process with money or with people as far as the system?
Yeah, I mean, I think the MD is a great organization, and they do help their clients a lot. I'm, you know, hoping someday that there won't be a need anymore for them.
And they are making some
some great strides.
Yeah,
and
they've got some new medications out that help, and so it's exciting.
Do you take that?
Not yet. It's a kind of a process. Apparently, I'm on a Facebook chat group with it, and it's quite a process, and it's like over $1 million for the first year. So insurance has a hard time paying for it. Sometimes I guess you're gonna have to fight with them.
Wow.
At some point, I'll get up the.
Yeah.
It's great. They do have medications right now that they are giving to infants when they're first diagnosed, and it is helping to slow the process.
Okay.
Which is great for SMA, for spinal muscular atrophy, for what we have. And then there are medications that they are giving adults where it's improving their muscle mass. So, you know, it's something that we might be able to eventually do. It's not an end-all cure, but they're getting there. So we started Twins with Wheels.
Twins with Wheels, and you spill all the juice on all the information, and people actually ask you questions that you've had throughout your whole years. So Michael is kind of like the person who asks the questions, and you guys go through. That's How do people get? Is it twinswithwheels@gmail.com if people have further questions?
Yes.
Okay, and then you go ahead and you do an episode and you speak about. I love that concept.
Yeah, we've been getting one out every week. And we have one coming up where we're going to be interviewing parents who have kids with disabilities and challenges that they have and had. And
our friends, we're going to interview some of our friends. What it's like to be friends with somebody with a disability.
Sure. You should get that person that you were telling me about, Kelly, Shane Grims. I think. Should get him. That'd be cool. It's a lot of information. I watched 2 episodes last night, and you guys did do such a great job with the production work. You put all the, you were showing your house, Kelly, and it's wonderful because you actually give people ideas on how to hook up their house if they do have it.
Yeah. Because there's so many things that you just don't think of or, you know, just don't plan for, that it's just easy things to do. So
what do you want people to know about this disability that you have?
I think mostly that most disabilities do not affect your intelligence. So you need, you know, we're just like everyone else. We're just sitting all the time.
Yeah.
And not to be afraid of us, or, you know, we're just like everyone else. We really are.
Mm.
And I think that's what we're hoping with this channel and getting our, you know, ourselves out there, is to show people that we are just like them.
And give information to people with disabilities that
Who
may
need
not
it.
have.
Yep.
Thank you both so much.
If you have a vegan product, make your vegan claim official with the only accredited vegan trademark in the world. Visit www.beveg.com. That's www.beveg.com to apply now. Making a Difference is sponsored by Preferred Health Magazine. Please visit www.preferredhealthmagazine.com today and subscribe.